Hello, my name is Diana Castro, and you've tuned in to Leaders with a Mission. And today, if you have a business and you would like to grow it to wealth, this person will truly be a great introduction. So let me tell you a little bit about him. His name is Yeager, and he's the president at Yeager, Sherburne CPA, an accountant in Miami specializing in wealth creation consulting. And with you, John.
Hello.
Hello, John. How are you today?
Very good, thank you.
So let's jump right in.
How about it?
Tell us a little bit about your firm. What do you guys do? Tell me a little bit of the background of how is it that you came to dive a little bit deeper into wealth creation.
Okay, so I've been with Rick Sherburne for almost 40 years, which is hard to believe, but we have. We were a normal run-of-the-mill CPA firm up until about maybe 8 to 10 years ago, when we realized that one of the things we really do well is we help clients build their personal wealth through their business. And we start with the end in mind. We say, where are you? What are you trying to be? Where are you trying to get? 3 years, 5 years, 10 years down the road. So we start with that. We go into your books like most CPAs do, and we start with expenses. That's pretty much every CPA can do that. But the difference is sometimes CPAs, we tend to be too conservative and we try to cut expenses, whereas sometimes expenses need to be raised to create more revenue. One example would be in the marketing side. You know, if your business is subject to fluctuations in marketing, in other words, for every dollar I spend in marketing, I'm going to create 3 to 4 times that amount in revenues, then you don't want to be cutting your revenue. You don't want to be cutting your marketing side. So we look at that. That's our starting point. What we try to do is we try to pick off maybe 3 to 5% on the expense side. We try to find that kind of savings. We then move to the revenue side and we look at the revenues. We see, what are you doing? Are you getting the most out of your real bread and butter, number one? And number two, are there areas in your revenue side that need to be cut? Like we've had companies come in, they have 4 revenue streams, and really 2 of them aren't profitable. So they're really wasting their time.
Got it.
So we cut those out, and then we really concentrate on the 2 that they can grow fast.
So what I'm hearing you say is there is a component of accounting, which is kind of like how you guys get in the door, I guess. Right. And the truth is that what people are really getting is more of like the consulting, like this is where we see opportunity in your business. That's Correct. What I'm hearing you say.
Correct. And then a lot of times we keep the company keeps the CPA they already have. I mean,
nice.
We don't come in and steal CPAs. We try not to. Actually, if you're happy with your CPA, we say keep them. That's not the problem. But
so you can do just only the consulting.
Absolutely. We just work at a different level.
Got it.
Because his focus is normally, and we have this in our practice too. I mean, we have clients that don't avail themselves of the consulting side. Like every CPA firm, we do accounting and bookkeeping and tax returns, the normal stuff that you would see.
What you can expect.
You can expect from a CPA firm. We deal with IRS issues. But really the ones that get their bang for the buck are the ones that take advantage.
The ones that take the juice, like your magic.
Yes,
okay.
Absolutely.
What are some common mistakes most business owners are making that you would like to tell them, like right now, like, hey, if you could get something out of me today, if you're doing this.
Right. Okay. That's pretty easy. And actually that goes to the third level of what we do. We talk to clients about operations.
Got it.
From an operational perspective. I've had a lot of the consulting background that led me into this side that most CPAs don't really have. A lot of them, they've worked with taxes and accounting their whole life, but they've never really worked in operations, which is what Rick and I have done. Rick Sherburne, my partner, and I have done over the years. So when I speak to operations, what is that? So if you have 20 people, you want to know what all 20 do. You want to know what all 20 think they do, right? What all 20
big difference, what they do and what they think. Okay, good.
What they're supposed to do, what their boss thinks they do. I'm sure you've seen that meme, right? Yeah. You know what your friend thinks. Well, in business, that happens all the time. Okay. And from an operational perspective, it's horrible because you've got the same person. Let's say you have 4 people trying to do the same thing, but they're not doing their job. So we go in, and I learned this, 20 years ago doing consulting work. You have to interview everybody from the janitor to the CEO to find out what everybody's doing and what they're supposed to be doing. And once you can chart that, and it's not a difficult thing to do, you can really get rid of a lot of costs from the operational level, and you can take more advantage of your from your revenue side.
And from your human resources,
Yes.
from the people that are there.
Absolutely. And you can also find people that aren't really doing their job, and that's prevalent in any company that has more than 2 people, to be honest. I mean, because you're going to have that. You're going to have, we call it the good, the bad, and the ugly, and you want to get rid of the bad and the ugly. So those are the 3 phases of what we try to get to. And then the last part about from the building wealth perspective is we're trying to pick off, again, like I said, we're trying to pick off like 3 to 5% from the expense side, 3 to 5% on the revenue side, 3 to 5% on the operation side. So now you're looking at 9 to 15% on your bottom line that we've created. Now what do you do with it? So we take that last step and we work with wealth stockbrokers, they used to be called. Now they're called wealth advisors. And we work with them on helping you to take that savings and actually get it into your retirement and multiply it. Yeah. So we full circle, we get to that. And that's where you want to be.
It sounds to me, and call me crazy, but I think that's what you have the most fun in. Like, is that the part that lights you up? So let me, without assuming anything, what is the funnest part about your job?
Absolutely. It's the interviewing side. It really is. When you start interviewing people and you're interviewing what they do and just like you're doing now, what do you're talking to the janitor, what do you like to do? What's good about your job? What's bad about your job? Or you're talking to the person who, let's say, is in the shipping side. What do you like about your job? What do you not like about your job? And it's the funny stories that come from, what's the weirdest thing that's ever happened? And I have a 5 or 6 item checklist that I ask every single person. And it's really interesting how you find the dynamics, even within a small 10-person company, how much they really don't know about what's really trying to happen, and that to me, and the fun part is seeing it happen. We've had clients we go into that have increased their revenues by 30% over 18 months. And we know that we were the driving force there. There was, it's just those few changes that we gave them, and they follow it, right? And they're successful, and that's the best. It makes you want to do more of it.
After being in business for over 40 years, what have been lessons that, like we were talking before the cameras were on, and you're like, if I were just 10 years younger, yeah, and I would know what I know now, what is that? What is that word of wisdom that you wish, like, what is that juicy stuff that right. That would have made such a big difference?
Really knowing that this is where our niche was at. Because we acted like a normal CPA firm for, 28, 30 years. And, we didn't really realize and grasp this until about 7 or 8 years ago. And it's really gotten, and, of course, it's like anything else. When you do enough of it, you just get really good at it. Yeah.
It was just recognizing that this was your magic, yes. That you were not just like any other CPA. What got you to that? What got you to realize that?
Wow, that was interesting. Actually, a gentleman by the name of Frank Arias, he's with Daisho Creative Strategies. He brands, and we wanted to go through a new branding. Our old website looked dead. All of our marketing materials looked dead. We hadn't really done anything in years. And I sat with him, and my wife, who at the time was a very integral part of our business, sat with him for 4 hours, and he drained us. Yes, he pulled it out of us. And we came to realize that, 50% of our business is in the construction and industrial side, which I wouldn't have known that. I mean, I should have known it. I'm a CPA, for God's sake, but I really, you
were just doing the operations. You
right.
were just
going through what we do, And so he kind of pulled that out of us, and he pulled this consulting part out of us. And he says, well, how are you successful there? And how are you successful here? And, when you failed here, what did you then do? And I was like, well, we made this change, and then we were successful. So he says, it sounds like you do a lot more consulting than you do this other stuff, you know? And so he really made us, he not only did the branding part, but he made us realize this is who we are. And that was,
How beautiful.
4 or 5 years ago. And here
The
we are.
magic of branding and marketing and people who are insightful.
Here you are. Yes.
So this is like one of the questions that we always ask here at Leaders with a Mission, and is what books, what feeds your soul? What would you recommend people? Like right now, like economics is changing. We are seeing now crypto. There's so many opportunities. You as a numbers person,
right?
What should we be reading right now?
Yes. So still, some of the old books still hold true. The 7 Habits of Successful People.
Awesome.
Anybody that's going into anything should read them. There's another one called Good to Great. And that's a fantastic one. It talks about, getting into your niche and doing things, do one thing and do it well and do a lot of it. It's basically that one. There's some really good stuff out there by Elon Musk. That stuff's a little bit
out there.
It's a little esoteric, but if you listen to his business side, he's really, if you read those, he's really dead on. I mean, he's on top of it. And then, now, of course, we're back to some of the, how do you kick inflation? How do you keep it from really affecting your businesses, which is the conversations we're having, now, of course, with all our clients.
Any word of wisdom in that area?
I mean, and you remember when the SBA, when the pandemic hit and we had this conversation and we went right into, okay, what are we doing here? And we were one of the first 250 firms with the SBA, where we were dialed in what was going on and how to do it. And, we procured, 100 PPP loans and I don't know.
Yeah, you guys were 50. Right on top of it.
We were on top of it.
You were leading the call. You were leading the field for those that were so lost at that time.
We had CPAs all over the country calling us and saying, okay,
how do we do this?
Where are we? Yeah, what am I missing? Where are the CPAs terror points? What should I be afraid of? And so we were doing that. So now with inflation kicking back up, when I first started my business, inflation and interest rates were at 16% when I first got into being a CPA in the early 80s. So here we are again. We're counseling our clients about what a recession looks like and what you should really be doing to kind of, keep it at bay. You're going to have issues. You're going to have to, you're going to have to get through them. You're going to have to find solutions, but you can't let it stop you from getting up in the morning.
Love it.
Which a lot of them do. They're like terror stricken right now because all they do. I always tell them, stop watching the news. Stop watching the news. Yeah. So
beautiful. So where can most people find you, John?
Well, we're in Miami and we're on the web, Yeager Sherburne CPA. Contacting us is easy. So
beautiful.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for giving us this opportunity to chat and to a little bit of insight of how you guys are really changing the quote, like the status quo on CPAs. So thank you for that. And for all of you who are looking to amplify your message through the power of video, I'm going to ask you to visit us at forproductions.com. See you on the next one.